Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever had one of those days where everything's going right, but your brain still manages to find the one single cloud in a big blue sky? It's a question so many of us live with. Why does our mind seem to just default to the negative? And maybe more importantly, what can we actually do about it? Let's get into the science.
Yeah. Does this one sound familiar? It's that little voice, right? The one that pops up just before a big meeting, or a new project, or, heck, even before you try something fun. It's that automatic, intrusive thought that kind of casts a shadow before you've even taken a single step.
Or what about this one? You're out somewhere, maybe with friends, maybe just walking down the street, and this thought just appears. It's like you've got this internal narrator that just assumes the absolute worst about how other people see you. You end up replaying conversations, just looking for any sign that you messed up.
And then, of course, there's this classic, that feeling like you're just bracing for impact, even when there's no danger. Good news comes in, and instead of feeling happy, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You see, these aren't just random passing thoughts. They form a really powerful pattern. So let me ask you straight up, does this internal monologue just leave you feeling drained, completely exhausted? Do you ever feel like the biggest fight you have every day is with that relentless voice inside your own head? If you're nodding along to any of this, you are so not alone. And it turns out there's a really powerful scientific reason for all of it.
So, let's start by just putting a name to this whole experience. We're talking about that all-consuming voice, the part of your mind that feels like it's on high alert 24/7.
It's kind of like your mind is a security guard, constantly scanning the perimeter for anything that could possibly go wrong. It's replaying that one awkward thing you said at a party 3 years ago. It's expecting disappointment around every single corner. And all that thinking leads to real physical stuff. The tightness in your chest, that restless feeling, that's your body literally reacting to a danger that, most of the time, isn't even there.
So why? Why on earth would our brains do this to us? It can really feel like a personal flaw, right? Like something is just broken inside. But what if it's not a bug? What if it's actually a feature? To get it, we need to stop looking at what it feels like and start understanding why it happens.
And this is the core idea. Your brain isn't faulty, not at all. It's actually operating exactly as it was designed to, but it was designed for a world that doesn't really exist anymore. Think of it like you're running on ancient survival software. Super powerful, but a little outdated. And this survival code, it has a name. It's called the negativity bias. See, for almost all of human history, your survival depended on noticing threats. The rustle in the bushes, that unfamiliar sound in the dark. Our ancestors who were hyper-focused on what could go wrong were the ones who lived to pass on their genes. Their brains were hardwired to ask, what's the danger here? And that exact same system is alive and well inside your head today, automatically scanning for problems. Not because you're a pessimist, but because it's just trying to keep you safe.
Let's look at a super clear example. The fact itself is totally neutral. A procedure has a 70% success rate. Now, one person might look at that and think, awesome, that's a really high chance of success. But a brain that's running that negativity bias software, it immediately zeroes in on the 30% chance of failure. It's the same fact, but two completely different emotional realities. It's not about being wrong. It's about what piece of information your brain grabs onto first to ensure your survival.
And here is the absolute crucial point. That ancient mechanism is still on the job, but it's operating in our modern world, which is filled with deadlines and social media and stressful emails instead of, saber-toothed tigers. So its powerful protection can easily become overprotection. And instead of just helping you survive, it can actually start to limit how fully you're able to live your life. So what is the real, tangible cost of living in this state of constant, low-grade alert? Because, let's be honest, it's so much more than just being in a bad mood.
This cycle is just incredibly powerful, mostly because it feeds itself. It all starts with one simple thought, like, I'm totally gonna mess up that presentation. Then your body reacts, your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty. So, to make that feeling go away, what do? You avoid it. Maybe you call in sick, and you get this immediate sense of relief, right? But later, regret kicks in, and your mind uses that regret as proof. See, I knew I couldn't handle it. And boom, the original negative thought just got stronger, making the whole cycle even tighter for next time.
So just take a second and really think about this. How many chances, maybe a job you didn't apply for, a conversation you didn't have, a creative project you never started,
How many have you passed up because that inner voice just convinced you it was a bad idea? If that question stings even a little bit, it's because this pattern has real-world costs. But this is not where the story ends.
Because understanding the problem, that's only half the battle. Now we get to the good part, the turning point. We're moving from knowing why this happens to learning how we can actually work with it.
I want you to really let this sink in. Seriously, this might be the most important idea we talk about today. Your negative thoughts are not your identity. They're not some fundamental, unchangeable part of who you are. They are simply a learned pattern, a habit that your brain developed for what were, at the time, very good reasons.
And this is where your real power lies. Our brains are not set in stone. The science of neuroplasticity is incredible. It shows us that our brains physically change based on what we focus on. Think of your negative thoughts like a well-worn path in a forest. The more you walk it, the deeper it gets. But you can always choose to start forging a new path. If your brain learned how to spot danger everywhere, it can also learn how to spot growth and possibility.
So how do we even begin? Well, it's not about forcing yourself to just be positive. We all know that rarely works. It's about a gentle, consistent process of retraining. So let's look at a simple, actionable framework to get started.
Here are the 3 pillars of change: notice, train, and change. It starts with just becoming aware. Then it moves to intentionally focusing your attention, and it finishes by shifting that whole internal conversation. Let's break each one down.
Okay, step 1 is all about creating a little bit of space. There is a huge difference between being completely fused with a thought, believing this will definitely go wrong, and simply noticing it, saying to yourself, I'm having the thought that this will go wrong. You see that difference? You are not the thought, you are the one observing the thought. That tiny little shift is everything. It creates a gap, and inside that gap, that's where your power to choose lives. Next up, step 2 is about training your attention. Think of it like a muscle. Whatever you focus on, you strengthen. So just start small. I'm talking 1 minute a day. Deliberately shine a spotlight on something you appreciate, something that went well, or even just a quiet moment. You're actively teaching your brain that there's more to see than just threats. Then, step 3 is changing that inner voice. That harsh critic needs a new script. And this isn't about fake positivity. It's about replacing "I'm gonna fail" with something more compassionate and frankly more realistic. Something like "I can handle challenges," or even just "It's okay for me to grow slowly."
And as you begin to practice these steps, something really incredible starts to happen. The entire internal landscape of your mind begins to shift. You're slowly moving from a world that's defined only by danger to one that also includes possibility.
Let's be really clear about the goal here, because this is so important. The objective is not to get to some magical state where you never have a negative thought. Come on, that's not realistic. The real goal is to get to a place where those thoughts can show up, but they don't get to be in the driver's seat anymore. They don't have the power to dictate your mood, your choices, or the direction of your life. You see the thought, you can acknowledge it, and then you get to choose your next move anyway.
So this is where we'll end. Your brain learned an incredibly powerful skill: how to see danger everywhere to keep you alive. And that job, for the most part, is done. The question now is, what will you teach it next? With some patience and awareness and practice, what new possibilities will you train your amazing brain to see? The choice now is yours.